Hi guys, we have another video today because you have to do questions 3 through 6 on page 260, and I wanted to go over one of the questions with you real quick so you know like what they're asking, each step of the way. All the questions are very similar to this one, so this will help you out a lot when you do the others. Make sure you do number 3 on your paper, and then also do 4, 5, and 6 on your own on the paper, and then turn it in. But here we go. Follow along as I read. So it says, multiple sclerosis is an autoimmune disease that strikes more often the farther people live from the equator. Could vitamin D, which most people get from the sun's ultraviolet rays, be a factor? They're thinking this because the further you are away from the equator, the less sun you get. So are like people that live in Alaska, are they getting MS at a higher rate because they don't see the sun as much? That's basically what they're questioning. Let me keep going. Researchers compared vitamin D levels in blood samples from 150 U.S. military personnel who have developed MS with blood samples of nearly 300 who have not, so 300 who don't have MS. The samples were taken on average 5 years before the disease was diagnosed. Those with the highest blood vitamin D levels had a 62% lower risk of MS than those with the lowest levels. So if you see more sun, you have a 62% chance lower risk of attracting MS. The link was only in whites, not in blacks or Hispanics. So I guess they were only looking at white people. All right. Now, question A. What kind of survey is this? Well, I don't think it's going to be an experiment because it's not like we grabbed 450 people and then did some tests to them. We found 150 that already had MS and then found 300 that don't, and then went back and looked at their blood records and then checked their vitamin D levels. So they already went through these studies and stuff, and we're just going back and checking. This to me sounds like it's an observational study, and since we're going back, it's a retrospective observational study. So A, this is a retrospective observational study. B, is that an appropriate choice for investigating this problem? And explain. Well, MS is a pretty rare disease. So the chances of me randomly picking 500 people and then testing them over the next 10 years, the chances that we even get one person with MS is highly unlikely. So it's better to kind of weed out the people that do and don't have it already, and then go backwards and see maybe why they got MS, versus doing some kind of experiment now or doing a prospective observational study. So going backwards and using people that already have it or don't is better. So this was an appropriate way to test MS. And if you're doing some kind of experiment, then you're kind of rooting for people to get MS, and that's just not ethical. So this retrospective observational study was a perfect way to do it. C, who are the subjects? These are the people involved. There was 150 military personnel that had MS. They're some of the subjects. And the 300 military personnel that didn't have MS, they were also the subjects. So a total of 450 in 2 different groups. Okay, so those people that were involved, those are the subjects. And then D, what are the variables? We have 2 things that we're looking at here. First one, do they have MS or not? So that kind of separated them into the 2 groups. So that's the first factor or variable. And the second were their blood tests, their blood samples, and specifically the vitamin D levels in their blood. So they tested their vitamin D levels in their blood. So that's one factor or one variable. And Then whether they have MS or don't, that data into one of those two categories. So your two variables are the vitamin D levels in their blood and do they have MS or they don't. All right, hopefully that helps out a little bit. A lot of the questions, like I said, are similar to this. Keep looking at the board. If you have questions on the stuff on the board, you can also send me messages on Remind, and I can answer them. Good luck. Have fun. See you guys.